Welcome back to New York, everyone. Here's a look at the tournament brackets from the NCAA and its corporate champions as we reveal the fourth and final bracket, and that is the South region. These games to be played Thursday and Saturday in Greensboro, North Carolina. The top seed there, the Tar Heels of North Carolina, the sixth team out of the ACC. Coach Roy Williams makes it 20 straight NCAA tournament appearances. Who do they meet? How about the Highlanders out of Radford University? The Big South Conference tournament winners won both the Big South regular season and the tournament championship. The number 8 seed in the South, the Tigers of LSU, the third SEC team into the tournament. Coach Trent Johnson in his first season at LSU, and he will meet out of the Horizon League, the Butler Bulldogs. Coach Brad Stevens, his team won the Horizon League regular season title. And I tell you what, this is a tough matchup for LSU. Matt Howard and Butler right now, very poised, very patient basketball team. I expect them to pull the upset. All right, moving down the list. Thursday, Saturday games in Portland, Oregon. The number 5 seed Fighting Illini out of Illinois, the Big Ten's 6th team into the tournament, coached by Bruce Weber. And who will they meet? The Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky, Sun Belt Conference tournament champions. And they are all about getting after the Fighting Illini. And I don't think that's going to be the end of their celebration. I like Western Kentucky to beat Illinois. Remember, Illinois' point guard Chester Frazier is injured. Western Kentucky beat Louisville early in the year. All right, Seth. Now, moving on down from the West Coast Conference. The Bulldogs of Gonzaga, number 4 seed. Coach Mark Few makes it 10 NCAA tournament appearances in his 10 seasons at Gonzaga. He will take on Mid-American Conference tournament winner Akron. The Zips won the Mid-American Conference. They finish at 23-12, and they are the number 13 seed in the South. Now, Thursday, Saturday games in Kansas City, Missouri. The number 2 seed in the South, the Oklahoma Sooners. Coach Jeff Capel, his Big 12 Player of the Year, Blake Griffin, the 6th team out of the Big 12, and they will meet the 15th seeded Bears of Morgan State. The conference tournament winners in the MEAC, Coach Todd Bozeman gets his Morgan State team into the tournament. The number 7 seed in the South, the Clemson Tigers, the 7th team out of the ACC. Oliver Purnell has now led 3 different schools to the NCAA tournament, and they will face, coming out of Ann Arbor, the 7th Big Ten team, the Michigan Wolverines. It's been a long wait for Michigan, about 10 years, and towards the end of the show, they deserve to make the tournament. I think their road win at Minnesota is what clinched their bid. They doubled their win total from a year ago. They upset both UCLA and Duke early in the season. And Michigan is a deserving basketball team. It's going to be interesting to see how they match up, though. Not going to be an easy road. They're in, but will they advance? Well, they're a happy bunch of Wolverines right now. And first and second round Friday, Sunday games in Miami. The number 3 seed in the South, the Orange Men of Syracuse. Big courageous run through the Big East tournament. They are the 7th Big East team to make it, and they rejoin the NCAA tournament after a 2-year absence. They will meet the Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin. They won both the Southland regular season and tournament championship. The Lumberjacks are in. The number 6 team in the South, Arizona State's Sun Devils, the 6th team out of the Pac-10, Coach Herb Sendek's team at 24-9, and they will meet Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament champion Temple Owls. And this will be interesting, too. Arizona State has to be disappointed with how they played in that second half against USC. Temple playing as well as anybody. Deontay Christmas looking forward to playing against that matchup zone. All right, let's take a look now at the overall picture of the South. And again, how does this shape up for the top seed, North Carolina? I think it looks really good for them. Unfortunately, for teams like Penn State and St. Mary's, this is the end of the road. We knew this was not going to be a good year for the non-power conferences, but Gonzaga is going to be very difficult to beat in Portland. But other than that, I think a pretty smooth road for North Carolina. Yeah, I like Gonzaga. I think they have a chance to do really well in that region. And also, look for a team like Syracuse. Although they're a 3 seed, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond. 7 overtimes in the conference tournament in the Big East. Will they have enough in the tank to do damage in the tournament? I'd love to see Griffin versus Hansbrough, but between Clemson or Syracuse, one of those teams will get into the regional. I think it's going to be Syracuse. All right, overall now, do you see anybody having an advantage anywhere along the line?
Well, I think Pittsburgh's the best team in the country, so they will have the most natural advantage. And I think that UConn and Memphis being placed in the same region, I think sets them on a path to play against each other. But I really felt like that the bubble had shrunk in the last few days. Some bubble teams had played themselves out, and a lot of spaces had gotten shrunk. And again, these top 4 seeds pretty much played out the way they thought. I thought that maybe, Wake Forest could have gotten a 3, but Missouri also as a 3 seed I thought was a good placement.
Yeah, Missouri finished strong, winning the conference tournament, obviously. I still think right now Louisville, with the way they're playing, because they're so much better defensively, they have so much depth, I do think they're the class of the country right now.
All right, let's break this down by conference now. The ACC, the Big East, the Big Ten with 7 teams apiece. A couple of guys thought maybe one of these or the other might get 8. It didn't happen that way. 3 out of the SEC.
Well, the committee is always saying that conferences don't matter, and this year was a great illustration of that. They put 3 Big East teams as #1 seeds, 7 teams each from those big 3. And by the way, the SEC commissioner is the chairman of the selection committee. They got 3, and they would have gotten 2 if Tennessee won today. A very fair process.
All right, let's break down now in terms of the at-large bids. 4 non-power conference teams, and this is just another year where the number of non-power conference teams has gone down.
It really is a shame, and I wish there was something that anybody could do about this, but the reality is it's too hard for these non-power conference teams to schedule outside of the league, and that's why I don't like that St. Mary's is not in this tournament. They played 13 games on the road, won 13 games on the road, and I think they deserve to be in.
And I think that's something that the committee has to take into consideration. The fact that these teams don't get the benefit of having teams come play them at home, so therefore it puts the onus on other teams to control their destiny in essence, and I don't think that's fair. There have been some really good basketball being played in some of these non-power conferences. Unfortunately, they're not being rewarded.
Well, when it came down to last teams in, these are the last 6: Arizona, Wisconsin, Dayton, Maryland, Michigan, and Minnesota.
Well, again, the only one that I would quibble with is Arizona, again, because of the way that they played on the road. They beat Kansas and Gonzaga. Both of those games were home. So Arizona's got to play at St. Mary's next year.
And you're talking about broken hearts. Talk about the bubble teams that just didn't make it in. San Diego State at 23-9, an outstanding season. They just come up short for whatever reason.
And other than, of all the non-power conferences, I think the Mountain West was the best, and yet they still only get 2 teams in, only 1 at large. That's disappointing because those teams, San Diego State in particular, were deserving.
Penn State, a Big Ten team, left on the outside looking in right now. Let's head back out to Indianapolis. Jim and Clark have another look at the brackets, guys.
All right, thank you, Greg. And bracket review time with the man who last year set all 4 #1 seeds.